What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Definitely want to give a actual shout out to Who Dat Nation, baby. We coming off a win and really happy about that. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. If you love what you hear, make sure you comment. Just keep those comments respectful. Also, if you're interested in supporting your favorite podcaster, that link will be in the episode description. So look out for that. Appreciate all the support. So, really excited, obviously. Um, my New Orleans Saints, God's chosen franchise, blessed by His Holiness the Pope, not once, but twice, started 2-0 for the first time in 10 years. Just to give you an idea, Drew Brees was here. Um, Jimmy Graham was here, so it's just kind of showing you a little bit. Coach Payton was here. Our defense wasn't as good as it is now. Just to kind of give you an idea of what it was back then. It's crazy that it's been a decade just thinking of the teams we've had. I know I think it was 2017 through 2021, the Saints had the most regular season wins in the league at the time, or were up there. And so to think that they never started the first 2 weeks undefeated is crazy. We had some 1-1, some 0-2s, but never 2-0 in the past decade. And so a lot to be happy for. Um, you know, some things that I feel like we need to clean up, but I have promised the masses that I will try to reserve some judgment until after the first 6 games, mainly because we're without Alvin Kamara for the first three, and then I think it might take him a couple to get into game shape. And just, Derek Carr spent 3 weeks getting used to everyone else, and now he has to get reacclimated to Kamara, who obviously, because of suspension, hasn't even been able to practice with the team or be near the team facility. So I've been trying to give some grace there. And so if you want to know, week 6 is going to be when it happens. But just kind of want to focus on last night. Saints went against the Carolina Panthers, facing up against the #1 overall pick, my guy from Alabama, Bryce Young. But like I've told people, I'm not like those LSU fans in Louisiana who can't differentiate their favorite college team and their favorite college players from the NFL. So, some of that weak bullshit, but they were cheering for the Bengals. That type of stuff doesn't fly with me, especially if you're with a rival. And if you don't think the Bengals are a rival, check the lawsuits between the Who Dey and the Who Dat shit. The other way, Who Dat was first and we won. So there's that. But, I went through this with Julio. I went through this with Calvin Ridley. Tampa's had a few people. Mark Barron stands out as somebody that's been in the division. So I've been through this. This is my first rodeo, but everybody knows I love Bryce. The price is Bryce. That's what I used to say. But like I kind of said, on my Twitter page, man, there's no fee that can help you escape from the walls of Angola. And we saw that. Um, and I'll get to our defense in a second. But again, won 20-17 by 3 points. Really was 20-9. We kind of in the last minute or so, we just kind of went prevent and just kind of let Carolina go down the field. They didn't have to use timeouts. They got out of bounds. Adam Thielen scores a touchdown and then scores the 2-point conversion. So it was just crazy, man. But box score doesn't really, when you look at the points, it wasn't that close of a game. I can assure you. I think the Saints pretty much dominated most of the way. Um, but it was kind of close for a little bit. And one of the reasons was the offense kind of struggled a little bit again, just to be consistent, with pass blocking and pass protection and things of that nature. But um, Derek Carr pretty much struggled in this game, didn't play as well as he did versus Tennessee Titans, given the amount of pressure that he faced in that game as well. But again, you're on the road, first game on the road with a new team, still trying to get some things together. So it's understandable to a degree. Completed 58% of his passes, had one horrible turnover, threw in the triple coverage. But, those things happen. Again, I watch football. I know what Derek Carr does. I know he's a gunslinger. So if he has an interception or two, like that's not going to phase me, to be quite honest with you, because I know the way he plays the game just as much, just as long as it doesn't really cost us. Like in the red zone last week, he had a crucial red zone turnover, really had two. They didn't call the fumble, they called it incomplete pass. But as long as it's not really costing us points, I do trust our defense to make things happen, get us the ball back quickly, and he's good at forgetting the bad throw and going on to the next move. So that kind of shows his leadership and just kind of moving on, not letting turnovers get into his head. And just kind of keep it going. But again, one bad turnover, but was sacked 4 times, was pressured a number of times. Was kind of able, he got to use his feet a little bit more in terms of not necessarily scrambling to get yards, but scrambling to make some plays, rolling out, even in instances where he ended up throwing the ball away. I'm fine with that as long as our starting quarterback for the 4th year in a row doesn't end up missing significant time. I'm fine with him rolling out and throwing it away. We can live to see another down, another play. We'll be okay. The trio really looked good. Michael Thomas looked good and consistent. Olave and Shaheed made some big plays. Um, and again, that's why I'm not worried. I think considering everything, we made the plays that we needed to make them. Derek Carr made the throws we needed to make them. Had a beautiful throw to Olave. He made a tough contested shot, actually contested catch. Actually was able to tip it to himself. Should have been called defensive pass interference, but you know we're the Saints. We don't get those all the time. So was able to do that. Also, in crunch time, big needed a big play. Derek Carr was able to hit Rashid Shaheed for the second time in as many weeks on a big play, a big momentum changing play. One thing that was exciting offensively was it felt like our offense running game came to play. Taysom did really well, 9 carries, 75 yards, so averaged over 8 yards a carry. I'm a big fan of Taysom ball. I think we should utilize it, especially when Alvin Kamara was going to miss another game, obviously because of suspension. Kendra Miller was dealing with some injuries. Coach Allen said he could play tonight or last night, but just didn't want to push it, especially because we're going to be on a short week playing the Packers on Sunday after a Monday night game, and it's a road game, so have to fly out to Green Bay. But so smart decision to rest him, and in his place, obviously Tony Jones Jr. stepped up, and he had to step up even bigger because um, Jamal Williams, our free agent signing to kind of be that complimentary back to Alvin Kamara, got hurt his hamstring. Didn't really see the play it happened, but just noticed that he was walking gingerly to the sideline, and Coach Da ended up saying there was a hamstring injury, that he was going to be out a little minute. So uh, that's concerning a little bit, but Tony Jones Jr. was able to step up, got 2 big rushing touchdowns to help us kind of pad that lead and secure the victory. Uh, what can I say about the defense, man? Defense is amazing as usual. There's a reason why I call them Angola defense. If you're not familiar with Louisiana, that's a penitentiary in the state. And that it has all the anything bad you could think about prison, it resides in Angola. And I always say it's not to be disrespectful to the individuals who happen to be inmates there. It's just signifying just how locked down this New Orleans defense is, and they are led by the warden, Marshawn Lattimore, who again I feel is playing like a defensive player of the year candidate. Only was targeted 1 time. I think the catch was 3 yards or something like that, and I think it was on the screenplay. So does it really count as him giving up a catch if it's a screenplay? I don't think so. But um, you know, I don't want my philosophy has always been the top cornerbacks in the league don't really show up in the box score because you don't throw their way. And Carolina did a good job of not throwing his way. They wanted to try to pick on Alontae Taylor on the slot. They wanted to pick on Paulson Adebo, opposite Marshawn. They had some success in certain areas, but I think overall, those 3 guys, as I kind of mentioned before, DA wanted all 3 of them on the field at the same time for a reason, and they made it very hard on Bryce Young. D line, they are shutting me up, man. They're shutting me up. Again, it's only been 2 weeks, but they're shutting me up. They are generating the pressure that we need. Um, we kind of gave up some rush lanes, so I think when we play some of the um, scramblers of the game, because Bryce Young, he's a quarterback that can run. He's not a running quarterback like, let's say, a Justin Fields. But got to make sure we rush with discipline, don't get too far upfield, but really did well. Isaiah Foskey, second-round pick, actually led the team in pass rush win rate. Didn't have a lot of pass rushing snaps, only 9, but he was able to create pressure on 2 of those. So about 25% pass rush win rate was the highest on the team. Um, got 4 sacks, forced a fumble, hustle play by Carl Granderson. Bryce was kind of rolling out, looking to make a play, and Granderson was able to catch it from behind, knock the ball out, create a lot of momentum. I want to say that actually led to our first touchdown. So was really, really, really huge in what we were able to do. And they only converted 28% of their third down. So defense is what they are. And again, we're 2-0. And look, I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the Saints, but you know what? Your comments and your suggestions and your feedback, I mean, that's only reserved for people that are on the 2-0 club. So no disrespect, but that's just what it is. So if your team's 0-2 or 1-1, you can't talk to me right now. Like that's just serious. That's just the real. Now, I mean no disrespect, but just gotta stay in your place. This club is reserved for 2-0. So, you know what? With that being said, happy a little bit that we're undefeated. Somebody actually said like, "Hey man, like we're like stop whining. Like a win is a win." And look, I'm okay with saying a win is a win all the way to the Super Bowl. I do mean that, but I'm also understand that there are just certain ways that we play right now that is not they're not going to beat the championship caliber teams in the NFC, which is who we need to beat to get to the Super Bowl, and it definitely isn't going to beat the AFC teams because they have offensive juggernauts at the quarterback position. So one thing that's kind of concerning a little bit first 2 games is the offense just not being able to get out of its own way. Almost seems like shades of last year where offensive line isn't really giving the quarterback enough time. Quarterback kind of gets shell shocked every now and then, tries to make a play, maybe result in a turnover. Red zone efficiency is still waning. I think we're settling for field goals when we really need touchdowns. There are going to be teams that we play. You got to think about, field goals aren't going to beat the Eagles. Field goals probably aren't going to beat the Cowboys, if we're being honest. Field goals aren't going to beat the 49ers, you know. So we need to make sure when we're getting, we're putting drives together and getting to that money zone that we cash in with touchdowns. I would like to say that Taysom Hill should be a big part in that. He wasn't utilized a whole lot. I think he was utilized a whole lot more last night than he was last week, which was, a pleasure to see. But I think we need to utilize Taysom Ball a little bit more. I think we need to utilize Jimmy Graham a little bit more. This is not a retirement tour. He's in to make plays. I think Juwan Johnson is a guy we need to start looking at. A guy that most predicted was going to have a breakout year. We're not really seeing that. And I don't think it's necessarily for lack of trying on his part, but I just think we need to do a better job of getting him involved in the game plan. So, one of the knocks on Derek Carr coming in his career has been the red zone inefficiency. And so, we wanted to make sure we tried to fix that and clean that up while he was in the New Orleans Saints uniform. And so far, it hasn't been so good. At the end of the day, one thing that has changed and improved from his time in Oakland/Las Vegas is that he's not really turning the ball over in the red zone. And so at the end of the day, if we don't get a touchdown, it's not the end of the world as long as we can get a field goal together. Then we got one of the best young kickers in the game, Blake Grupe. He's going to be a household name when it's all said and done. I truly believe that. So we have, as long as we're getting points, we're fine. But I just feel like we need to do a better job cashing in. Some of that's play calling as well. Like I said, Taysom not necessarily being utilized as much. Jimmy Graham, Juwan Johnson. I mean, you got Michael Thomas. Like, when are we going to go a fade route? Like, I feel like that Atlanta game last year, uh, just didn't happen. I mean, in the sense of we forgot that we were in the red zone and we threw 2, you know, fades to him and he converted 2 for 2. And then the next week against Tampa Bay, we hit him in the red zone, got a touchdown. It's like, oh, we forget that Michael Thomas is on the team and we don't throw him the ball in that situation. And sometimes, we don't have to worry about the inside breaking routes. Just have him go straight up with the cornerback and throw it to him. So, you know, there's some things to be concerned of. I am one of those people that look, I'm happy we won, but there are some things that we have to clean up. I think any player or coach on the team would tell you that. I think we will. We're just trying to go 3-0 right now. Got a tough matchup on the road against Green Bay. Yes, Green Bay blew a lead to the Atlanta Falcons, but they're hungry. They're going to want to clean that up. They're going to want to generate pressure, take advantage of Trevor Penning, Cesar Ruiz, James Hurst. Our offensive line hasn't been the best. 9 sacks. So that's about 4.5 sacks. in 2 weeks. And what is that? That puts us on track for, I don't know, 60 sacks, something like that. Yep, about almost 70 sacks giving up, which obviously I don't think we'd get to that point. But it's just the fact that you have to keep your quarterback upright. And we get it. Derek Carr hasn't had a history of injury, knock on wood there, but you don't want him accumulating all of these hits. And we obviously miss Alvin Kamara. Yes, we're 2-0, but it's just clear that we miss him. He just brings a dynamic in the run game, in the passing game. And man, honestly, I'm at the point where I don't even care what happens in this Green Bay game. I'm just so happy that that following Monday, Alvin Kamara's going to be back in the building, and so excited about that. But at the end of the day, man, we're 2-0. We know we know the things we have to clean up. So it's not like, maybe some fans are letting the undefeated record so far get to our heads. But I do think the players in their locker room, the coaches in their locker room, they know the things they need to get better at. And I think they're going to work their behinds off to get better, and put out a better product week in and week out. Again, we got to get more efficient offensively, getting drives. We are, keeping drives sustained. It's just about converting those into touchdowns. And that defense, famous words of our head coach, Dennis Allen, just keep doing what you're doing, man. But, man, I'm excited, happy, on the Green Bay, expecting another Saints win in that matchup. Just face another young quarterback. I think that defense is going to be hungry and ready to play. Looking forward to this weekend. Not going to talk too much about the game, but definitely we're going to be a week from today. We're going to be following up from that matchup, maybe seeing if we saw some improvements. One from the blocking. Let's see what that run game is going to look like, because Jamal Williams is going to be out. Kendra Miller is supposed to be back. Obviously, going to have Tony Jones Jr. Obviously, you're going to have Taysom. Maybe we see more touches for Taysom, given that Jamal Williams will no longer be serviceable for the next upcoming weeks. And man, look, let's see if we can survive with another win. But who likes to survive, man? Sometimes we just want to thrive. So, so really, really excited about these New Orleans Saints, man. Now, granted, this is the 2-0 club, so we got a few teams in the league that are 2-0. I know the Bucks and the Falcons are 2-0 as well, so I guess they can join in. Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, they're 2-0 as well. Dolphins and the Ravens are 2-0. I know that the 49ers are 2-0. So, you got some teams that are doing some things, but again, they're not God's chosen franchise. And so I'll take my team up against any of those guys right now. I just know there's some things that's what we're going to get better at. And despite all the stuff I said about the offense and where they need to improve, and knowing that they're without Alvin Kamara, they're still ranked 10th in the league. So 10 out of 32 teams, which is not bad when you're talking about an offense that's, one, trying to find itself, doesn't have its best player, has some new guys, really new at the quarterback position, and still ranked 10th. And let's keep in mind that they don't really start generating things until the end of halves or the fourth quarter. So just think about when we get things together and start these building blocks, and God, when we get Alvin Kamara back, we're talking about maybe the number one offense in the league. I'm really that confident in what we can do. But I got to reserve a lot of things until after the first 6 games, because that's what I promised to my people. So I'm trying to be a man of my word. But there are some things that I have noticed, and I'm not so much talking about on the field. And that's not what I'm going to focus on when I have that conversation in the next few weeks. But for the time being, if you are a member of Who Dat Nation, be excited. Your team is undefeated. Be happy in that. Let's prepare to go against those cheeseheads. Let's try to go 3-0 this week. So before we end it, got to end it with a Who Dat, baby. So as I always say, if I offend anybody, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.